Hi, it's Gregor from Blue Leaf Kobo. Typically when I fix furniture it's on a client site and it's usually impractical to set up the camera and film what's going on. But today I've got a very small table to repair. The top's in pretty good condition, although it's a little bit bent. But the real problem is this leg. It's got a bit of a wobble. So let's put it on the operating table and have a closer look. If you look at these legs, they're pretty sturdy. This one, however, has a real wobble. This one's okay. And there's all these pieces here that wiggle a little bit. So my plan is to separate this if I can, because I don't want to change or don't want to touch this leg if I don't have to. And I'll really work on this and maybe take these pieces out and see if I can make them nice and snug. If I inspect it further using a magnet, I can see that nails are in these ends. Some nails have been used here from, I guess, a previous repair. And nails are always a problem. They always get in the way of disassembling furniture. I think the top of the table's been fastened with nails or screws, probably through here. Bit of trial and error, I think. First attempt will be using this separator clamp to see if I can pop this out without doing too much damage. So looks like a couple of nails have been used here. Probably a previous attempt to repair this. I'm going to remove these nails and see if I can take this off properly. I might try to separate that as well. Yeah, it looks like about 3 nails were used in this previous repair. Let's see if I can remove them carefully. Let's get this out of the way. Okay. That looks like probably the original bamboo nail. And this one too. Let's get rid of these other ones. That didn't do much. I think I'll try to hammer these two out. One of the nails is poking out a little bit, so let me remove that one. Get rid of that. I think this is where the other nail is. Maybe I'll just cut it off. I'm going to have another go at separating this. I can see what someone's done. Someone's put a piece of wire around that, because obviously the nail was starting to get loose. There we go. I'll get rid of these nails. I will glue this together here, which is why that nail keeps pulling out and why someone put some wire. We'll glue the split in here, and I will re-glue all of this. Probably take it apart a bit, at least remove the spider from in there, clean it up, see if I can get this to a solid piece. Okay, I've made some space for myself. Let's take this apart and clean up the surfaces so I can assess how I'm going to glue it together. Nails are a terrible way to fix furniture. They rust, they don't shift with the seasons. It's just terrible. Makes it so much harder to fix. I think I need to break this one properly so I can get the glue in there and get that nail out as well. There we go. Time to clean this up. Looking at the brake, I can see it's not fitting together super cleanly. And a tight fitment is really important to get a good joint. So I think I might have to trim some timber away. So I've had a closer look and I decided that with adequate clamping pressure, I think I can glue it. I don't think I have to shave anything off or reshape it. So let's get onto it. I'm using Tight Bond, quick and thick. It dries pretty quickly, and I can talk a fair bit about glues, modern glues versus the traditional hide glue. But as a general rule, for pieces that aren't meant to come apart, i.e. a break in the wood, I will happily use modern glues, because I'm never expecting to take that again apart. But for a joint, I will tend to use hide glue. The advantage of this glue is I don't need to clamp it for too long. It sets up pretty quickly. Okay, let's get these clamps on. So this is dried adequately, but typical fashion, it's not quite aligned. Things never go to plan. I think I could still work with it. I'll just have to make sure this is smooth and that it has adequate connection with this one, with this piece. I think it'll still work. So I'll start gluing the next bit. To help with alignment, I will use this piece. Just temporarily. Okay, I'll come back later. This has had time to dry, and off camera I've cleaned these both surfaces up to get a good fit. I would consider it a fair fit, but there still is a bit of a gap in there. So I'm going to have to use epoxy cement for that, because normal wood glue needs a tight fit. But before I grab the glue and put this together, I need to deal with this curved surface, because the clamp is just going to slip off that. And also that angle is going to cause it to slide. So I'm going to have to get a piece of scrap and carve a bit of a groove in that. So I've taken a chisel that matches the contour of this piece, shape this to fit, and then trim it to be square, and it'll be ready for me to start clamping up. I've got it in the vise, so let's start putting a groove into it. I think with a bit of hot glue, it'll be fine. So I'll measure it up, cut it at an angle, and then I should be ready to go with the glue up. So I need to get this parallel, and that looks about right. So I'll go trim that off. While I've got the glue gun out, I might as well fill these holes and cracks. Get something cold to squeeze it in, and you trim that off later. Okay, the chock, I guess you could call it, has been attached to the piece, ready to get some epoxy resin. Got it measured out, time to mix it up and apply. Okay. I want this to fill in the cracks as well, so a liberal amount. Always wear gloves, this stuff is always messy. So nothing to do but wait, and I'll come back tomorrow. The epoxy is set, so time to take off the excess. I think that should be good. Maybe the round file. Okay, that should do for that. Earlier, while the epoxy was drying on the leg, I had a look at the chair, these pieces on the side. I noticed that they're not really well seated in. If you can see, there's a groove and it's just sitting on the surface. I initially was hoping that there would be a deep groove and these pieces slotted deeply in, and then by applying glue I would be able to make a tight fitment. I don't think that's possible. I had a look at how they've done the work originally, and it's all with bamboo kind of nails. So I think I'm going to have to replicate this. I'm going to have to make some nails up. I will put as much glue as I can in there, clean it up. I've already cleaned it a little bit and vacuumed all the gunk out, but I think I'm going to have to make a bunch of little nails and just pin it all the way through, maybe even from here, from diagonally, and yeah, bit of glue, pin it. So to make these nails, I'm going to take some of these small bamboo toothpicks, trim them to size. Maybe I'll just do diagonally so they don't have to be that long. So I'll just get a little knife and start whittling them down. I'll probably need some thin ones, some more sturdy ones. I'm also going to reuse the various pilot holes have been drilled, so it's now ready to glue up and put in the nails. I've boiled up some hide glue, it's this stuff here, which is essentially really concentrated gelatin. The advantage of hide glue is that it's reversible, and so a lot of antique furniture uses it. It also sticks to itself, which is something that modern glues don't actually do. Another advantage of hide glue is that because it's applied hot, when it cools down it starts to become thicker and it really holds the piece quite quickly. And then of course it actually also dries out, so it's kind of two phases. It cools down and dries out, and then it becomes completely solid at the end. I think based on what I've looked at, they've used some variant of hide glue on here, so it makes sense to use hide glue again for this repair. So the glue is hot again, so I'll apply it liberally and clamp it up. Let it soak into those crevices from both sides. Put it back on the boiler. Now to wait for this to dry. Now it's time to grab some of these nails, dip them in glue and pin them in. The various nails have been installed, the glue has dried, and now it's time to trim off the excess. All the nails have been trimmed, so it's now time to glue the leg back on. I've already got some hide glue warmed up. Again, apply liberally. Now I'm letting it rest on a level surface with the weight on top. That makes sure that the legs are even when it's dry. Now that the table's finished and it's pretty solid, it's time to do some blending of colour and touching up some paint here. I'll start by staining the nails, and I'll use just a spirit stain. Easy to apply, very quick to dry, does the job well. Honestly, I don't have to do much more than this. Because it looked rustic in the beginning, sometimes less is more, isn't it? My aim was really to fix the wobbly leg, and I've done that. I didn't really want to change much of this. So I think, although I thought I was going to show how to do some paint touch-ups, I think I'm going to leave it. I might just do a once over with some shellac, add some sheen to some of these old pieces. Let me do that and let's see how it goes. I like applying shellac with a rag. It's just a bit more of an organic feel to everything. Many thin coats. Even up the sheen and seal in the old patina. I think I'll leave it at that. Ready to go back to its owner.